Right, so remember you didn't have to give the answer. We were just looking at writing this in the maths way and knowing that difference is minus. At B, the sum of 112 and 28 would mean 112 plus 28. Yes, Joshua?
Teacher, since it said you shouldn't get the answer, teacher, I just said equals x. So okay, teacher.
That's okay. It's unnecessary, but it's fine. And also, guys, if you did give the answer, I would most possibly not have marked it wrong as long as you still showed that. One thing you can't get a mark for is if you only gave answers. Then you get nothing here. But if you wrote the sum and the answer, that's all right. 1/3 of 24 is increased by 8. How do I work out 1/3 of something? I divide it by 3. 1/3 of 24 would be 24 divided by 3. And that is increased by 8. You don't have to have the brackets because Botmas anyway tells me to do division first. So the brackets, here's another way you could have written it. 1/3 of 24 plus 8. Botmas also tells you to do your of sums first. What does an of sum mean? Times. So you could have also written 1/3 times 24 plus 8. All of these correct. The square root of 16 is equal to the square of 2. 15 less than 99. Now this is not 15 minus 99. This is 99. What am I doing? (99 minus 15). 20 more than 16. I interpret this as 16 plus 20, but if you had written it other way around, it doesn't matter because plussing and timesing you can do in any order, but minusing and dividing you can't.
Teacher, I said 20 plus 16 and I crossed it out just so I can do 16 plus 20 instead of 20.
Good. You were thinking about it. That's great. 2A. Find the values of the letters in the following flow diagrams. And so literally what you end up writing down here is A, B, C. You're going to find their answer. No, I don't want to do that. I want to put equal signs. D, E, F. And then G is a rule that you need to find. So I'll look at that one last. Okay, so for A, you do 2 times 3. You do 8 times 3. You do 16 times 3. 48. Okay. Next one. 12 plus 6. 15 plus 6. 26. Why are they giving you these easy sums, I wonder? Hey, stop tapping, please. Now, I need to figure out the rule. Maybe this is the only sensible one that they are giving that I think is challenging enough. Hey, is challenging enough for you. The numbers going in is 1, 16, 49, and the numbers on the output side is 22, 37, and 70. Now, grade 7, shush. When I look at this, there's no exact tip between the two. Great, well spotted. They give us the plus sign, so all we need to do is say 1 plus what gives me 22? That's 21. So We do have to check that that works for the next one. If it works for 2 of them, it'll work for all of them. So 16 plus 21, yes, that is 37, so it works. Number 3, write these phrases as expressions. Write the unknown numbers as x. A number, so the moment they say a number, I want to write that as x. A number is decreased, that means minus, by the square of 4. Now, you now must be able to see the difference between square and square root. Square is that, square root is that. Okay, and that's not what we were looking for. Can I go any further? Must I solve this? No, because this is an expression and there is no answer unless I give you something to substitute into that expression. The product of 6 and a number, okay, 6, the product of 6 and a number, so it will be 6 times a number, is increased by 10. Another way to write it, 6x plus 10. You're welcome to do that. Brackets are optional here. They don't make a difference because you'd anyway do your timesing first, but I also like it when it looks like a little whole, you can clearly see it's the first thing you're going to do. So you're welcome to put them. No, that one, let me just quickly write that down. You put this and then you put? No. That won't work. But I do want to talk about the x6 versus 6x. Remember that it does mean x times 6, but that's like baby language in algebra, because in algebra we now learn that we always put the numbers first and then the letters. It's easy to remember because in maths you learnt about numbers before you learnt about letters. So I would, for now, in grade 7, I'd still give you this mark if you wrote x6 plus 10. Then you would have gotten the mark. But I would prefer that you write 6x. Yeah, yours is wrong there. A number divided by 3 is added to the square of that number. A number divided by 3. Now that answer there is added to. So I would prefer to use brackets. I'm going to show you how else you can write it in a moment. Is added to the square of that number. Now that number was the previous one, the x. So you use the x again. And you say the x squared. Well done if you did that right. The other way, thank you. The other way was to say x over 3 plus x squared. Or even the other way around, x squared plus x over 3 maybe. All of that is the same. Taryn?
Teacher, I said x divided by 3 plus y.
Yeah, you won't get that one right because you used a different variable. Sometimes we do use a different variable, but this sum specifically said a number divided by 3 is added to the square of that number, and that's why they wanted you to stick to x. If they just said to a number instead of that number, then you could have used y. Okay, so this one is special. A number multiplied by 5 is subtracted from 25. A number multiplied by 5 is subtracted from. Now look at, now you want to write minus 25. No. But I'm immediately seeing my issue. And I don't have space now to fix it, so I'm going to have to erase. Because I need the 25 to be first. If it's subtracted from 25, the number multiplied by 5 needs to be 5x There. Half of a number is added to 1/3 of that number. Half of a number, that means I need to take x and I need to half it. How would you prefer to write the half of x? Jordan?
X over 2.
You prefer x over 2. Some of you might prefer
X over 2 is
half of x. I'm not sure why you are preferring that, because most of you hate the of sums. You don't like doing them, but now you like using them. Your other option is to have said x divided by 2. That's the start. That's the 3 ways you could have started this, but I still need to finish it. Half a number is added to 1/3 of that same number. So I must add it to 1/3 of a number. To work out 1/3 of the class, I would take you and divide you by 3. So I would now take, and again, you shouldn't have used a y. You should have still used the x, because they said of that same number. So there's a fancy answer. You could have also said plus 1/3 of x, like that. You might even have wanted to put brackets there, which would also be right. You could have said x divided by 3, and if you don't like that, you could also have put brackets in. You didn't have to, but there you could have had brackets. So many ways to kill a cat. But I do want to say that this one is my favorite. Yes, Shelto.
I did half and then I put x right one and a half. So as if you're doing an off sum, just shorten, you just put the x next to half. So it's half x plus
Oh, yes, yes. That's fine. That's good. Good. Last one of number 3, 2 less than the product of a number and 9. Now, when you see less than, you have to think very carefully, because again, you're going to put it in the wrong order. If you started with 2, then you are wrong. 2 less than the product of a number and 8. Product means times, so I would take 8 times x and then minus 2. Yay! Or 8 times x minus 2. You may even have brackets. You might want to put brackets there. You don't have to.
or x times
But you firstly have to times them together and then subtract 2. You can't say 2 minus 8x. That is completely wrong. And that's always where I catch you out with these. Number 4. I don't know. Am I on the screen? Am I not on the screen? Not sure what this camera thing does. Okay. Think of a number. Add 5. Multiply the sum by 2. Think of a number, I immediately put down an x. Think of a number. Add 5. Okay, I'll plus 5. Multiply this sum. When they say this sum, they're referring to this plus sum which you just wrote. So they're saying, take this and multiply it by 2. So you'd have to put brackets. Now you can say times 2 after the bracket, or if you really fancy, put a 2 right in front, which also means times 2. You, like I said, I'll show you now. You could have also written times 2 there. Okay, let's go on from there. Then it says subtract 1. So we now have to minus 1. Write an expression using x for the unknown. Now, okay, so both of these would be correct, but we're not finished. Find the value of this expression if x is 12,5. So now we are busy substituting. So I'm going to take the x, literally I'm going to take it out and replace it with 12,5. So 2 times 12,5 plus 5 minus 1. Let's see. What is that's 17.5. 17.5 doubled is 35.
Minus 1 is 34.
Works the same here. 12,5 plus 5 times 2. So in a sum like this, grade 7s, you get a mark for the, in fact, you can get more than 1 mark for the expression and only 1 mark for the answer. Okay. So again, those ones of you who are so keen on scribbling on a different page and just writing the answer down for me, you're going to lose out here. If your answer is wrong, no, you'll get a mark for your. But was your formula correct? Oh, that's weird. Copy and complete the following table. And here's the first little negative number popping in. By the way, if they put 3x minus 4 here where your output values are, it's just a place for them to put the rule. It's just the rule. So you don't need to worry about what that means when it says that. It just means x is your input values, and instead of calling y your output values, they put the rule there to show you what rule you must use to get your output numbers. Okay, so I'm going to use minus 1, and I'm going to say 3 times minus 1 minus 4. I'm using this rule, and I'm using it for, and I'm putting minus 1 into it. Now, 3 minus 1s. If I owe you a 1 rand, and I owe you a 1 rand, and I owe you a 1 rand, my total debt is 3 rand. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. And then I must still subtract 4 from it. So now, except for the fact that I owe you 3 rand, I'm also losing 4 more rand. Think of a bank account in the negative. Which means how much do I owe now?
7.
I owe 7 rand. So you add those two together to get a minus 7. These rules with negative numbers we will still do in detail. So if you didn't figure this out, it's not the end of the world. You'll find it much easier next term. 0 was the next one. So then I'm going to do 3 times 0 minus 4. Remember, anything times 0 is 0. So, and then if I have nothing, but I subtract 4, I end with negative 4. That one's easy. 3 was given as a 5, yes. Then we've got 10 and we've got 250. So, if I go to 10, no, 3 times 10, what am I doing? 3 times 10 minus 4, that's 30 minus 4.
26.
And lastly, 250. So I need to do 3 times 250 is 750, and from there I must still subtract 4. 3 times 4.
12.
If A equals 2 and B equals 6 and C equals 5. Now this, find the values of these expressions. So this is going to count for A, B, C, and D as the substitute teachers, right? The substitutes that you're going to put into A, B, or C's place. And now all I do, let's just start A here. So now I have 3B minus A. I'm going to change that B and now make it A 6 because B is 6. And so it's 3 times 6. Please remember when it's right next to it, it means times. I also need to subtract A. Now A is a 2. So I'm going to replace that with 2. I don't need a bracket there. That doesn't matter. That's 18 minus 2. That's 16. 3B minus A. Now, B is 6 and A is 2. So I always do what's inside the bracket first and then I times. So if you, that's called simplifying the bracket. So if you simplify it, it's 4 and that's 3 times 4 equals 12. And then A is 2. B is 6. And for the first time they use a C. The C is it minus? Oh, but they give the minus and then it is a 5. And 2 plus 6 is 8 and 8 minus 5 is 3. D, I've got 4 times B minus 2 times C.
4 times 6 minus 2.
Okay, what is 4 times 6?
24.
And what is 2 times 5? 10. And that's 24 minus 10, that's 14. Okay, write an expression to describe the relationship of the data in the tables. If I look at a table, there's 2 things I always want to find. The tip and the rule. So I need to find the constant difference, which we like to call the tip, at 7a. And that I'm going to do by just looking at what's happening in between.
It's plus 3, but the top, but M is also plus 3.
So there's also a difference. Let's see if we do ignore that. What happens? I'm seeing a plus 3, 4. There is no constant difference. Hey, it's 3 and then it's 4, and so it changes. So that means there is no constant difference. Okay, which means I should rather start looking for a rule that maybe has a not a constant difference but a ratio. So let's look at that. That's the next thing I can test.
But teacher, there is a constant. There is a constant. Teacher, the top number goes 5, 6, 7, 8. 7, 8, 9.
Guys, all I'm going to say is that I see a top to bottom rule of plus 2. So the rule is that m plus a 2 will give me the n. It's a different one than what we're used to. I love going and looking for the tip and the rule and the constant difference. But if you take your m and you add a 2, then that is it. At B, we can also look for a, again, my top numbers are not in order exactly. So looking for a constant difference is not ideal. But again, I can just see a rule going from the top to the bottom. That the number is doubling. Now, they're all negative numbers, which for now might look weird to you. But if you double a negative number, you still get a negative number. So literally you are just doubling. So x times 2 equals y. Yes?
I said M plus 3 minus 1 equals M.
Why would you plus 3 and then minus 1? That's the same as plusing 2.
But teacher, it looks smarter.
No, it really does not. You can mark it correct, but please change it. Yes? What number doubled and added to 12 gives 20? Now, when they say what number, I want to start with the x. This is just me solving it. If you solved it in your head, good for you. But it counted 2 marks. So I would most possibly give you 1 mark for actually writing it as a rule and 1 mark for the answer. That's why I'm saying make sure you give me not just our final answers. Okay. The number I'm going to call x. If I double it, I can say times 2 or I can say 2x. I'll just say times 2 now. And then add it to 12, which means you plus 12, or you say 12 plus that. And that gives me 20. If you wrote something like this, remember it can also be 2x. You could even have said 12 plus 2x equals 20. That's another way of writing it. That is what the 1 mark would go for. then you figure it out. Now for me to figure it out, I just want to show you what I did. I firstly worked out what is, and you could do this with inspection, but I did 20 minus 12 and equals 8. And then I took 8 and I halved it. And that gave me 4. What did you see in the video that I posted today about once you've got your answer?
Check.
You check. So once you've come to the conclusion that the missing number should be 4, you just need to check, and you can check it in your head, but you have to go and say, so X, we meet again. X, and you change it to a 4, and you ask yourself, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 plus 12 is 20, great, it works, and then you're happy.